I was sweeping the sidewalk by the park that morning when I heard laughter behind me, sharp and bright like broken glass. For a second, I pretended it was just teenagers fooling around, the way they always do. But then I heard her voice cut through the air. "Mom? Is that really you?" She called out. "Oh my God. Are you seriously sweeping streets now?" My hands tightened around the wooden handle of the broom. I felt the rough splinters press into my palms, and my heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I turned slowly, praying I was wrong, that my mind was playing tricks on me. But there she was. Jennifer. My oldest girl. Perfectly dressed in a fitted coat, her hair done, sunglasses pushed up on her head like she was in some commercial. She wasn't alone. Two of her friends stood beside her, holding takeout coffees, looking from her to me like they were watching some kind of street performance. Jennifer lifted her phone as if she might take a picture. "You have got to be kidding me," she said, laughing. "Look at this, you guys. This is my mother. She chose this life. She wouldn't listen to us, and now she's out here in an orange vest with a broom." Heat rose up my neck and into my face. I could feel every wrinkle on my skin, every ache in my back, every year of my 70 years clinging to me like dust. People were starting to slow down, glancing at us, their eyes flicking from her expensive boots to my worn-out work shoes. "Jen, please," I whispered. "Lower your voice." She rolled her eyes dramatically and took a step closer, her heels clicking against the pavement. "Why?" she asked, her tone sweet and poisonous at the same time. "Embarrassed? Now you care about what people think? You didn't care when you refused to let us manage your money properly. This is what you wanted, remember?" I swallowed hard. The cold morning air suddenly felt too thin, like there wasn't enough of it to breathe. I could smell car exhaust, damp leaves, and the faint scent of coffee from the shop across the street, all mixing into something that made my stomach turn. Behind me, on the usual bench near the corner, the old man sat in his familiar spot. The same thin coat, the same hat pulled low, the same quiet presence that had been there every morning for months. I knew his routine almost better than my own. He would sit, hands resting on his knees, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes watching the pigeons more than the people. Every day on my short break, I walked over to him with my small lunch. Half a sandwich for me, half for him. Sometimes I added an apple, sometimes a cookie if I happened to find them on sale. He rarely said much, just a soft thank you, and a little nod. I never asked why he was there or what his story was. It felt like we understood each other without words. Two old souls sitting on the edge of a world that had moved on without us. Now, as Jennifer kept laughing, I became painfully aware that he was watching. I could feel his eyes on us, steady and quiet. "This is pathetic, Mom," Jennifer said, her voice rising. "We offered you help. We tried to put you somewhere decent. But no, you had to be stubborn. And now look at you." She waved her hand toward my vest and broom like she was presenting a tragic exhibit. "You're ridiculous." Her friends shifted uncomfortably, but none of them said a word. One of them gave me a quick, guilty look before dropping her gaze to her coffee lid. I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole. My mouth felt dry and my eyes burned, but I refused to let the tears fall, not in front of her, not in front of all these strangers. I took a slow breath and tightened my fingers around the broom again, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm working, Jennifer," I said quietly. "I'm doing what I have to do." She let out another loud laugh. "Working? Please. This is what people do when they've thrown their life away. When they don't know how to make good decisions. You had a house, savings, everything. And now you're feeding homeless old men on benches with your lunch like some martyr." She jerked her chin toward the bench. "Is that where your money goes now? To strangers?" I glanced at him. He sat very still, but his posture had changed slightly. His back looked straighter. His eyes were no longer on the pigeons. They were locked on Jennifer. "Would you do that to your own mother? I want to ask you, whoever is listening to me right now, would you point at her in the middle of the street and laugh? Have you ever seen someone you love turn into a stranger right in front of you? Because that's exactly what was happening to me on that sidewalk." Jennifer shook her head and smirked. "You know what? Maybe I should take a picture. Show Mark what his dear mother's been up to. He won't believe this." She lifted her phone again, angling it toward me. My chest tightened so much I thought I might faint. I wasn't just being humiliated as a worker, I was being paraded as a failure. A failure of a mother. A failure of a woman. And then just as she was about to tap the screen, everything changed. A deep rumble of engines rolled down the street, louder than the usual traffic. I turned my head and saw them. A line of black cars, shiny and imposing, moving slowly toward the corner where we were. They pulled up one after another, stopping close to the bench. Doors opened almost in unison, and several men in dark suits stepped out, moving with a calm, purposeful urgency I'd only ever seen in movies. People stopped walking. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even Jennifer's laughter cut off as she lowered her phone, frowning. "Okay, what on earth is this?" she muttered. The men headed straight for the bench. For a heartbeat, I thought they must be looking for someone else, someone important. But they stopped right in front of the old man I'd been sharing my lunch with all this time. One of them bent slightly and said, "Sir, we've been looking for you. Everything is ready." His voice was respectful, almost nervous. The old man didn't move right away. Then slowly, he pushed his hands against the bench and stood up. He seemed taller than I remembered, his shoulders squaring, his whole presence shifting like a coat being turned inside out to reveal the fine lining. He turned his head not to the cars but to us. To me. To Jennifer. His eyes were clear, sharp, and suddenly there was nothing fragile about him at all. In that moment I felt a chill run down my spine. I had no idea who he really was. I had no idea what was about to come out of his mouth. But I knew deep in my bones that this was the moment my life was going to change. If you think this already sounds crazy, just wait. To understand how I ended up on that sidewalk, being mocked by my own daughter while a convoy of black cars stopped for the man I'd been feeding, I need to take you back to where all of this really began. My name is Margaret Collins and I'm 70 years old. Or at least I was when all this started. I turned 71 a few months after that awful morning on the sidewalk. I grew up in a small town called Elmwood, the kind of place where everyone knows your business but still waves when you drive by. I married my husband, Robert, when I was 22. He worked at the mill, and I raised our 2 kids, Jennifer and Mark, in the little house we bought with our first savings. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. We paid it off 20 years ago, before Robert passed from the heart attack that took him too soon. After he died, the house felt too big, too quiet. The hallways echoed with memories. Jennifer's high school graduation photos still on the mantel. Mark's old baseball trophies gathering dust in the den. But it was home. My pension from Robert's mill job, and my little savings from years of sewing alterations kept me comfortable enough. I wasn't rich, but I wasn't struggling either. I had a routine. Coffee on the porch at sunrise, tending my roses in the backyard, church on Sundays. Simple things that made life feel steady after losing him. Where are you watching from today? Some cozy kitchen like mine used to be, or maybe somewhere that doesn't feel like home anymore. Jennifer was always the ambitious one. She moved to the city after college, got a job in marketing, married a lawyer named Tom who made good money. She had the big apartment, the designer clothes, the Instagram life. Mark stayed local, worked as a mechanic, had 2 kids of his own. He was quieter, more like Robert, solid, dependable, or so I thought. They visited every couple of weeks, always with hugs and stories about their busy lives. I'd cook pot roast or meatloaf, their favorites from childhood, and we'd sit around the dining table laughing about old times. "Mom, you make the best food," Jennifer would say, helping herself to seconds. Mark would nod along, his mouth full. Those dinners made me feel needed, loved. Have you ever had moments like that with your family where everything feels right? But looking back, there were signs. Little things I brushed off as normal family stuff. It started about 6 months after Robert's funeral. Jennifer began calling more often, always asking about my finances. "Mom, are you managing okay? Bills piling up," she'd say, her voice all concern. I'd reassure her. Yes, the mortgage was paid, utilities covered, even a small emergency fund tucked away. But she'd push. "You should let us help. Tom knows a financial advisor. We could set up something better for you." Mark would chime in on speakerphone. "Yeah, Mom, we're worried. You're not getting any younger." I remember one Sunday in particular. They both showed up unannounced, which wasn't like them. Jennifer had a folder of papers, all neat and official looking. "It's just a power of attorney, Mom," she explained, sliding it across the kitchen table. In case something happens to you. You know, like if you fall and can't make decisions. Her smile was bright, reassuring. Mark sat beside her, flipping through his phone but glancing up now and then. It's standard, Mom. Everyone does it. I hesitated. The print was small, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. But they were my kids. I trusted them. I signed where they pointed, had my coffee, and we moved on to talking about Mark's boys. That night, though, I couldn't sleep. Something felt off, like an itch I couldn't scratch. The next week, a letter came from the bank, something about account changes. I called Jennifer and she laughed it off. Oh, that? Just optimizing things, Mom. Don't worry your pretty head. Over the next few months, the visits got more frequent. Jennifer started staying overnight sometimes, to help around the house. She'd reorganize my kitchen cabinets, move furniture for better flow, and always had questions about my jewelry box or the deed to the house. This place is too big for one person, she'd say casually, while dusting the living room. You should think about downsizing. We could help you find something nice. Assisted living maybe. Mark would back her up. She's right, Mom. It's safer. I started noticing money missing from my wallet, small amounts, 20s here and there. Kids must have needed gas, I told myself. Then the mail got strange. Bills I thought I'd paid came back marked overdue. My checks to the electric company bounced once. Jennifer insisted on handling it. Let me take over the bills, Mom. You're overwhelmed. She set up online banking on my computer, changed passwords I didn't know. Grace, my neighbor across the street, mentioned seeing Tom's car parked late one night. Everything okay, Margaret? She'd ask over the fence. I'd smile and say yes, but inside, doubt was growing like weeds in my rose garden. One afternoon, I came home from the grocery store earlier than usual. The house was quiet, but Jennifer's car was in the driveway. I heard voices from the den, low, urgent. I crept closer, my heart picking up speed. We need to move faster, Jennifer was saying. The old lady's sharp. She almost caught me with the statements last week. Mark's voice defensive. She's not gonna figure it out, Jen. Just keep her busy with those doctor visits. The power of attorney covers everything. Then Jennifer, cold as ice. Once we get the house refinanced in our names, we're golden. Sell it, split the cash. She can go to that cheap place downtown. I froze in the hallway, bags slipping from my hands. Oranges rolled across the floor. My knees buckled and I gripped the wall to stay upright. My own children, talking about me like I was some burden to discard. The house Robert and I built with our sweat gone. My savings, the nest egg for emergencies, stolen. And that power of attorney? Not protection. A key to my life. Part of me wanted to burst in, scream at them, demand answers. But something held me back. Instinct, maybe. Years of watching Robert handle tough customers at the mill taught me timing matters. Confront them now, and they'd lie, gaslight, make me doubt my own mind. No. I needed proof. Real proof. I backed away quietly, picked up the spilled groceries, and pretended I'd just arrived. Kids, you're here. I called out cheerfully. Jennifer emerged, wiping her hands on a dish towel. All smiles. Hey, Mom. Just tidying up. Mark followed, avoiding my eyes. That night, alone in bed, staring at the ceiling fan's slow spin, I made my decision. No more trusting blindly. I'd watch. I'd listen. I'd check every paper, every bank statement, every locked drawer. Grace had a cousin who was a paralegal. Maybe he could explain that power of attorney. And there was Daniel Harris, the quiet lawyer downtown who'd handled Robert's will. If things were as bad as I feared, I'd need help. What would you have done? Walked in and caused a scene, or played along like I did? Because from that moment everything changed. I wasn't just their mother anymore. I was going to uncover the truth, no matter how ugly it got. And trust me, it got uglier than I ever imagined. The days after that overheard conversation blurred into a strange new routine for me. On the outside, I was still the same Margaret, smiling at church, waving to neighbors, baking cookies for Mark's boys when they visited. But inside, I was a different woman. Alert. Watching. Every interaction with my children became a chess move, and I was determined not to be checkmated. Have you ever had to pretend everything was fine when your world was cracking apart? That's where I lived for those next few months. I started small, the way you test ice before stepping on a frozen pond. First, the bank statements. Jennifer had set up online banking, but she forgot I still got paper copies in the mail. Old habits die hard. One evening after she'd left, I sat at the kitchen table under the yellow light of the hanging lamp, sorting through the stack she'd organized for me. My reading glasses slipped down my nose as I scanned the numbers. There it was, withdrawals I didn't recognize. 500 here, 1,000 there. All marked as transfers to family account. Family account? We didn't have one of those. My hands trembled so badly I had to set the papers down. Robert and I had saved 25,000 over the years, careful penny by penny. Gone. Just like that. I photocopied everything at the library the next day, my heart racing as the machine whirred. The librarian, Mrs. Patel, gave me a curious look, but I just smiled and said I was organizing recipes. Back home, I hid the copies in an old cookie tin under the loose floorboard in my bedroom, the one Robert used for his fishing lures. Jennifer called that night, her voice syrupy sweet. "Mom, how's everything? Need anything from the store?" I played along, chatting about the weather, my roses. But as we talked, I noticed her pauses, like she was waiting for me to slip up. "Oh, and Mom," she added casually, "I saw the bank sent you statements again. Don't worry about those numbers. Tom and I just moved some things around for better interest rates." Lies. Smooth practice lies. "Thanks, honey," I replied, my voice steady. "You're a blessing." Mark was harder to read. He came by a few days later to fix the garage door, which had been fine. While he was out there banging tools around, I slipped into his truck, windows down, keys in the ignition like always. Tucked under the seat was a folder labeled Mom's House. My breath caught. Inside, copies of my signature, the power of attorney I'd signed months ago, and a loan application with the house as collateral, signed by both of them, dated 2 weeks before Robert even died. They'd been planning this long before I was alone. I snapped photos with my old flip phone, hands slick with sweat. Mark's boots crunched on the gravel as he came back. "Find what you needed, Mom?" he asked from the doorway. I startled, shoving the folder back. "Just looking for my garden shears," I lied, forcing a smile. He eyed me a second too long, then nodded. "Yeah, sure." That night I couldn't sleep. My chest ached like I'd run a mile, and tears soaked my pillow. My son. Not just complicit, active. Scheming. Grace caught me in the yard the next morning hanging laundry. The sheets smelled of fresh sun, but everything felt tainted now. "You look tired, Margaret," she said, leaning on the fence. Her eyes were kind, worried. "Everything all right with the kids?" I hesitated. Grace had always been straight with me. No nonsense, raised 4 boys on her own. "Grace," I whispered, glancing around, "can I ask you something crazy?" She nodded. I told her about the papers, the money. Not everything, just enough. Her face hardened. "Those vultures. My cousin Daniel's a lawyer downtown. Quiet type but sharp. Go see him. Take your copies." I did the very next day. Daniel Harris's office was above a bakery. Smelled like cinnamon and old books. He was in his 60s, wire-rimmed glasses, shook my hand firm. "Mrs. Collins, sit. Tell me everything." I laid it out, the power of attorney, the transfers, the loan docs. He flipped through my photocopies, whistling low. "This is textbook elder financial abuse. That POA gives them too much power. They could have drained everything." He tapped the loan app. "This? Forgery territory. Signatures look off, pressure strokes don't match." My stomach dropped. "Forgery? My own children?" Daniel leaned back, tinting his fingers. "Don't confront them yet. Gather more. Bank records, witness statements. I'll help file when you're ready." Quietly. He gave me his card. "And change your passwords. Today." Walking out, the bakery smells turned my stomach. Betrayal has a taste, bitter, metallic. Emboldened, I dug deeper. I started forgetting things on purpose. Leaving mail unopened, my checkbook out. Jennifer pounced every time. One afternoon, she arrived with grocery bags, all concern. "Mom, let me handle the bills." She sat at my desk, typing away on my laptop. I pretended to nap in the recliner, eyes cracked just enough. She opened a new browser tab, searched, "How to get elderly parent declared incompetent." Then emailed herself bank logins. Click. Sent. I waited till she left, then checked the history. Screenshot on my phone. More evidence. Mark slipped next. He brought his boys over for grandma time, but while they played, he rifled my china cabinet, eyeing pieces. These worth much, Mom? Casual, like asking about the weather. Family heirlooms, I said mildly. Later, I found auction sites open on his phone when he left it charging. My mother's silver appraised online. The incidents piled up. A plumber Jennifer hired quoted triple the rate. Money straight to her friend's company. My pension check deposited, then half vanished same day. Grace saw Tom at the county recorder's office, filing something hush-hush. Each discovery chipped away at me. Nights I'd sit with tea gone cold staring at family photos. Jennifer's graduation smile. Mark's wedding day grin. Lies. All lies. My internal war raged. Part screamed to call them out, demand my money back. But Daniel's words echoed. Proof first. Ironclad. Doubt crept in too. Was I paranoid? Old? Forgetting things? No. The papers didn't lie. Voices on recordings I'd started making didn't fade with age. One evening, Jennifer snapped during dinner. Mom, you're being difficult. Sign this trust thing and we'll handle everything. Her eyes cold. Mark shifted uncomfortably. Jen. No, she hissed. She signs or we walk. I sign nothing. Instead I smiled. Let me pray on it. They left frustrated. That night I cried for the babies I'd nursed, the teens I'd cheered, now strangers plotting my ruin. Anger hardened into resolve. No more victim. The scope grew bigger than I feared. Turns out they told the bank I had early dementia. Grace overheard Jennifer at the diner. Mom's losing it. We need guardianship. They'd isolated me. Neighbors got calls saying I was unstable. Even church ladies asked tentative questions. It wasn't just money. It was my life, my sanity they targeted. Daniel confirmed over coffee. They're building a case to lock you away, sell everything. Horror washed over me. The cheap downtown place Jennifer mentioned? Not care. A warehouse for the forgotten. My house, Robert's pride? Auction for their debts. Jennifer's credit cards, Mark's failed shop. I sat in my kitchen, hands clenched around cold mug. Doubt? Gone. Trust? Shattered. What began as whispers of worry exploded into calculated theft. They thought me weak, blind. But I saw. I knew. And I decided then, no confrontation yet. Dig deeper. Get the full picture. Because if I was going down, it wouldn't be without exposing every rotten layer. Can you imagine discovering your children don't just neglect you? They systematically dismantle your life? That's when I realized the betrayal ran deeper than money. It was planned, ruthless. And what I uncovered next made my blood run cold. With Daniel's guidance ringing in my ears, I dove headfirst into gathering the kind of evidence that no judge could ignore. No more half measures. This was war, quiet and methodical, fought with a phone recorder in my apron pocket and a notebook hidden in my purse. Every conversation, every slip-up, every forged signature. They were going to bury my children under the weight of their own greed. Have you ever had to document the destruction of your own family, piece by damning piece? It's a loneliness deeper than widowhood, but it sharpens you like a knife. Daniel started by pulling official records. We met in his cramped office twice a week, the smell of fresh printer ink mixing with his strong coffee. Look at this, he said one Tuesday, sliding a stack across his scarred oak desk. The house deed, my house, Robert's and mine, had been refiled 3 months ago. Jennifer and Mark listed as co-owners. Undue influence, Daniel muttered, circling dates. They backdated your signature on the quitclaim. Sloppy. My stomach twisted like a wrung-out rag. Quitclaim. I'd never heard the word before, but it meant surrender. They turned our home into their piggy bank. But that was just the tip. Daniel subpoenaed bank records quietly through back channels. Pages upon pages arrived in plain envelopes. Transfers. $8,000 to Jennifer's account for home repairs. My home, untouched. $12,000 to Mark's shop, labeled family loan. My pension rerouted to a joint account I never authorized. Interest payments on loans against the house, loans I'd never taken. They're leveraged to the hilt, Daniel explained, his glasses fogging as he leaned in. Your equity covers their debts. If they foreclose, you lose everything. Foreclose. The word hung like smoke. Robert's roses in the yard, the porch swing where we'd held hands, gone for their mistakes. I needed witnesses. Grace was first. Over tea in her kitchen, floral mug steaming, I played her the recording from that den conversation. Her face drained white. "Those snakes," she spat, slamming her spoon down. "I saw Tom at the recorder's office. Had a bundle of docs. Said it was for Mom's care. She agreed to sign an affidavit. Saw Jennifer bragging at the diner about finally getting what's ours." Next, Mrs. Patel from the library. She'd notarized one of those power of attorney updates Jennifer pushed on me. "She told me you were forgetful," Mrs. Patel confessed, twisting her sorry. "Insisted you wanted her to handle everything." Affidavit number 2. Recordings became my obsession. I bought a tiny digital one at the drugstore, clipped to my collar like a brooch. Jennifer visited Friday with takeout, all smiles. "Mom, sign this guardianship form. Doctor says you're slipping." I pretended confusion, fumbling my glasses. "Guardianship? What's that?" She sighed, exasperated. "Means we make decisions for you. Safer." I nodded slowly, recorder whirring silently. "Like, if I can't pay bills?" "Exactly," she said, pen poised. "We got you." Click. I signed a blank page, bait. Later, Daniel laughed. "Tampering with blank docs? Felony." Mark cracked next. He called panicked one night. "Mom, the bank's freezing our line of credit. Something about the collateral." I feigned worry. "Collateral? What's that mean for the house?" Silence. Then, "Nothing, Mom. Jen's handling it." I pressed gently. "You kids need money? Take what you need." Relief flooded his voice. "Really? Yeah, just a bridge loan. House covers it." Bridge loan. They're sinking ship. I recorded every word, time-stamped. Near misses kept me up nights. Once Jennifer grabbed my purse for a tissue. Recorder inside. I snatched it back, heart hammering. "Personal items, dear." She frowned. "What's with you lately?" Another time, Mark found my notebook under the couch. Notes on dates, amounts. "What's this, Mom?" "Grocery lists." I lied, snatching it. His eyes narrowed. "You writing stuff down now?" "Memory issues." Gaslighting. Straight from their playbook. They escalated, thinking me cornered. Phone calls turned nasty. "Jennifer, sign the guardianship or we'll have to get the state involved. You're a danger to yourself." Mark texted. "Mom, listen to Jen. It's for your own good." They spread rumors. Church ladies whispered about my decline. The mail carrier asked if I needed help with checks. Isolation. Classic tactic. Even my doctor got a call. Jennifer posing as concerned daughter. He pulled me aside at my checkup. "Margaret, your kids mentioned confusion. Tests." I showed him the recordings. His jaw dropped. "This is abuse. I'll document." Daniel pieced the timeline. Started pre-Robert's death. Jennifer researched parental incapacity laws. Mark scouted nursing homes. Cheap ones, $2,000 per month. Forged my SIG on a $50,000 Helic home equity line of credit. Used for Jennifer's condo down payment, Mark's truck. Long-term. Declare me incompetent. Auction house, commit me. Daniel's eyes hardened. Meticulous. Ruthless. My breaking point came mid-October. Rain lashed the windows as I sat alone, evidence folders thick as phone books. Photos. Auction appraisals of my furniture. Bank alerts. Another $3,000 siphoned. Recording of Jennifer to Mark. "Once she's locked up, we're free. Sell high, split 50-50. I rocked in Robert's old chair, sobs choking me. Not the money, though it stung. The erasure. They'd rewrite my life. Doting mom to doddering fool. Robert's legacy, our memories pawned. Rage boiled over tears. I called Daniel at dawn. "Enough evidence?" He paused. "Ironclad. File fraud charges, reverse deeds, restitution suit." Allies materialized. Grace's cousin, the paralegal, cross-checked county filings. Mrs. Patel volunteered notary logs. Doctor wrote incapacity reversal letter. Even the bank manager, outraged, froze accounts pending investigation. But confrontation? Not yet, Daniel coached. Let them dig deeper. Their desperation is your proof. So I played frail. Forgot appointments. Mumbled in calls. Jennifer crowed to Mark, recorded she's crumbling. Perfect. Mark uneasy. This feels wrong, Jen. Shut up. Money's almost ours. Strategy crystallized over Daniel's conference table. Maps of filings spread like battle plans. File quietly. Fraud complaint first, freeze assets. Subpoena their debts, buy them cheap, own their IOUs. Guardianship hearing. Expose recordings live. Public angle. Town square exposure, witnesses galore. Poetic justice. Emotionally, I shattered and reformed. Heartbreak for lost trust. Fury for the lies. But power? New electric. No more pleading, Mom. I was Margaret Collins, widow, survivor, avenger. What I plan next? Surgical. They'd wake to seize bank accounts, reverse deeds, court dates looming. But the real strike, that public humiliation, benchman watching. They'd mocked my fall. I'd orchestrate theirs. They thought me beaten. No idea I'd weaponize their arrogance. The full extent stared back from my folders. Not mistake, conspiracy. And my counterpunch? Devastating. Little did they know, I'd already won the war in my kitchen. Victory tasted like cold steel determination. The morning after my breaking point call to Daniel, I walked into his office with purpose I'd never felt before. No more trembling hands or second-guessing. The 3-inch thick folder of evidence slapped onto his desk like a gauntlet thrown. Daniel looked up from his coffee, eyebrows rising. Margaret, you look different. I sat straight-backed. I'm done being the victim. Tell me exactly what to do. Legal moves, financial traps, everything. He smiled faintly, the first real one I'd seen. That's the spirit. Let's turn the tables. We started with the essentials. Asset freezes. Daniel filed an emergency motion that afternoon, citing elder financial abuse. By evening, my pension deposits were rerouted to a new trust account only I controlled. Jennifer's access? Revoked. The bank's fraud department got a packet, photocopies, recordings, timelines. Next morning, Daniel called. Accounts frozen. Their joint line of credit? Dead. I could picture Jennifer's face when the alerts hit her phone. Pure panic. Legal maneuvers accelerated. Daniel drafted the quitclaim reversal. Undue influence proven by the backdated signatures and my notary witnesses. County Recorder's office scheduled a hearing. But we didn't stop there. Daniel's investigator buddy pulled credit reports. Jennifer's condo mortgage, $180,000 underwater. Mark's shop loans, $95,000 delinquent. Buy their debts, Daniel suggested. Lowball the banks. Own what they owe. Through a quiet holding company Daniel set up, I snapped up the notes for pennies. Jennifer's mortgage for $120,000, Mark's for $60,000. Suddenly, I was their landlord and lender. Power shifted like sand through an hourglass. Allies stepped up in ways I never expected. Grace hosted neighborhood coffee at her house, inviting Mrs. Patel, the doctor, church ladies who'd heard whispers. Margaret needs our support, Grace announced firmly. Testimonies poured in. Affidavits swearing I'd always been sharp as a tack. The doctor amended his notes. Patient cognitively intact. Family interference noted. Even the mail carrier chipped in. Saw Jennifer intercepting my mail. Daniel bundled it all, 20 statements strong. I executed the counterplan with precision, outmaneuvering them using their own arrogance. Calls to Jennifer turned syrupy weak. Honey, I'm so confused. Can you explain these bank letters? She bit every time, dictating fake reassurances, recorded of course. Just sign over the house fully, Mom. We'll fix it. Mark visited, sweaty, desperate. Mom, bank's calling. Need your signature on this extension. I accidentally spilled coffee on it, buying time. Close calls mounted. Once, Jennifer rifled my purse during lunch, recorder nearly found. I coughed dramatically. Heartburn, dear. Pass the water. She backed off, suspicious but hurried. Their desperation grew palpable. Jennifer's text turned frantic. Mom, this is serious. Sign or consequences. Mark called late, slurring slightly. Jen says you're blocking us. What's wrong with you? Wrong with me? I almost laughed. Daniel coached the feign. Play frielier. Let them push. So I did, canceled appointments, forgot names and calls. Jennifer crowed to her husband, overheard, recorded, she's breaking. Guardianship next week seals it. Mark, voice cracking. This feels off, Jen. Mom's not stupid. She is now, Jennifer snapped. Near misses tested my nerves. Daniel's office got a concerned call from Jennifer, fishing for case status. His receptionist stonewalled. Attorney-client privilege. Mark tailed me to the bank once. I spotted his truck, looped the block, lost him. Heart pounding but exhilarating. Their own tactics trapped them. Gaslighting backfired as judges saw patterns. Isolation failed with my ally network. The old man on the bench became an unexpected comfort. Sweeping streets now. After they helped me into that job by draining my accounts, I shared my lunch daily. Shabby coat, quiet nods. But lately, sharper questions. Family troubles? I'd nod vague. Strength comes quiet, he'd say cryptically. Little did I know. Power flipped irrevocably. Banks notified Jennifer. Debt transferred. Contact new holder. Mark's shop got lien notices from me. Guardianship hearing loomed. Our motions crushed it preemptively. Daniel grinned over Piet graces. They realize something's wrong. Collection calls, frozen cards, reverse deeds. Desperation phase. Jennifer stormed over one rainy evening, soaked eyes wild. Mom! Banks seizing the condo. What did you do? I sat calmly, tea steaming. Me? Nothing, dear. She paced, frantic. This is your fault. Sign everything over now. Mark arrived, haggard. Mom, please. We're losing everything. Lies crumbling. I almost pitied them, almost. Instead, I revealed a sliver. Slid a debt notice across the table. Funny. These say I own your loans now. Their faces. Jennifer's fury melting to shock. Mark's slump, poetic. How? She whispered. Quiet work, I said mildly. They left stammering threats, but the wind was gone. Set up for confrontation perfected. Daniel scheduled a mediation at the town hall neutral ground, public square adjacent. Witnesses primed. Grace Patel, doctor. Recordings queued on laptop. Their debts in my pocket. House retitled solely mine. One final play. Invite them for family talk. Come to the square tomorrow, I said sweetly. We'll sort it. They agreed, smelling victory. No clue bodyguards waited, no the convoy. The benchman. Moments from caught breaths mounted. Jennifer nearly grabbed my phone, new evidence. Mark eyed my folders. But I stayed ice cool. Their growing desperation fueled my calm. Ironic reversal complete. As rain pattered that night, staring at Robert's photo, I felt ready. Allies locked in. Trap sprung half set. Confrontation dawn broke. They'd mocked my fall. I'd orchestrate theirs publicly, evidence crashing like waves. No escape. What would you feel, holding your betrayer's debts while they plotted your ruin? Not vengeance, justice. Pure earned. The morning sun hung low over the town square, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement where I'd been sweeping just weeks before. I stood there now, not in my orange vest but in my best wool coat, the one Robert bought me for our anniversary, with my purse clutched tight against my side. The air smelled of fresh coffee from the diner across the street and damp leaves from the park benches. My heart thumped steady, not with fear anymore but anticipation. Daniel had set the mediation for 10 a.m. sharp at the town hall steps, right by the square. Witnesses positioned. Grace sipping tea at the fountain, Mrs. Patel pretending to read on her bench, the doctor walking his dog nearby. And him, the old man on his usual spot, silent as ever, half sandwich wrapper at his feet from my morning share. Perfect setup. They were coming thinking it was their kill shot. Jennifer arrived first, heels clicking like gunfire on the sidewalk. No friends this time, just her face-pinched designer bag swinging like a weapon. She spotted me immediately and marched over, eyes blazing. Mom, what the hell is this? Mediation? With a lawyer? You've been busy. Her voice sliced through the quiet morning bustle. A few heads turned, shopkeepers unlocking doors, early joggers slowing. I didn't flinch. Morning, Jennifer. Daniel's inside prepping. Mark on his way. She snorted, crossing her arms. Oh, he's coming. But this ends today. You sign over the house fully, drop whatever nonsense you've stirred up at the bank, and we call it even. Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. Or we go to court. Guardianship hearings tomorrow. Doctor's notes say you're incompetent. Grace caught my eye from the fountain, giving a subtle nod. I smiled faintly. Incompetent? Funny word from the girl who forged my signature on a home equity loan. Jennifer's smirk faltered just a flicker. What are you talking about? You're imagining things again. Mark pulled up then, truck rumbling to a stop at the curb. He climbed out slow, shoulders slumped, looking like he hadn't slept. Mom. Jen. His eyes darted between us, landing on the town hall doors. Lawyer inside? This is bad. Jennifer grabbed his arm. Shut up. We handle it like planned. I gestured toward the steps. Shall we? Public record mediation. Witnesses everywhere. They exchanged a look. That same guilty glance I'd caught months ago in the den. As we climbed the steps, the square filled subtly. Mrs. Patel folded her paper. Dr. leashed his dog closer. Grace stood casually blocking the sidewalk. The old man shifted on his bench, watching. Inside the small conference room, Daniel waited at a scarred wooden table, folders stacked neat. No pleasantries. Mrs. Collins, Miss Collins, Mr. Collins. Sit. Jennifer sat first, spine rigid. Mark slumped opposite. I took the head, calm as church. Daniel slid copies across. Bank records, deed filings, loan apps. Fraud. Forgery. Elder abuse. Charges pending. Jennifer laughed, sharp and brittle. This is ridiculous. Mom's confused. Those signatures? She approved everything. Mark shifted. Yeah, Jen's right. We were helping. Daniel didn't blink. Helping by draining $25,000 from her savings? Rerouting pension checks? Refinancing her home? Predeceased husband for your debts. He tapped the quitclaim. Backdated. Notary swears you coerced her. Jennifer's face flushed. Lies. Mom, tell him. I leaned forward, voice even. I signed nothing under duress. But you? That power of attorney? Used for theft. Mark's eyes widened. Mom, it was for your protection. Time for evidence. Piece by piece, maximum impact. Daniel cued the laptop. First recording. Den conversation. Their voices filled the room. Jennifer's cold refinance in our names. Mark's hesitant agreement. Jennifer froze. That's edited. Mark whispered. Jen, that's us. Next, her search history. Declare parent incompetent. My blank page signing. Her diner brag to Grace. Mark's truck folder photos. Bank transfers time-stamped. Affidavits stacked. Mrs. Patel, Dr. Grace, all swearing I was sharp then manipulative. Jennifer bolted up, chair scraping. Fake. All fake. Mom's senile, you're exploiting her. Denial cracking into hysteria. Mark buried his face. Jen, stop. We messed up bad. I stood now, slow and deliberate. Their eyes on me, not as victim but judge. You want my speech? Fine. What hurts isn't the money, though God knows we scraped for every penny. Robert worked nights at the mill so you'd have braces, college. I sewed dresses, baked pies, sold door to door. That house? Our blood. And you turned it into your escape hatch. Jennifer's eyes welled, fake tears? Mom, we love you. We panicked. Debts piled up. Mark nodded frantically. Yeah, Mom. Please. We'll pay back. Love. My voice rose, steady fire. You called me pathetic in the square. Spread dementia lies. Planned to warehouse me downtown while auctioning my life. Looked me in the eye, lied daily while plotting. That's not panic. That's betrayal. Calculated. Cruel. Daniel slid final packet. Debt notices. Margaret owns your loans now. Condo mortgage. Shop notes. Payments due her. Jennifer gasped. Impossible. Mark groaned. We're ruined. They begged then, ugly, desperate. Jennifer clutched the table. Mom, please. Tom's leaving. Kids need stability. Tears real now, mascara streaking. Mark. Grandkids, Mom. Don't destroy us. Gaslight attempt. You're angry, confused. Let us fix. I shook my head. Consequences, children. You taught me that. Daniel nodded to the door. Police en route. Fraud warrants served this morning. Outside sirens wailed, subtle orchestration. Jennifer lunged for the laptop. Destroy evidence? I blocked calm. Touch it, assault charge. Mark sobbed openly. Sorry, Mom. So sorry. Doors burst. 2 officers entered, badges glinting. Jennifer Collins? Mark Collins? You're under arrest. Financial elder abuse. Cuffs clicked. Jennifer shrieked. Mom! Don't do this. Mark hung head, led silent. Through the window, Square watched. Grace nodding approval, Mrs. Patel filming discreetly, Doctor shaking head. Poetic. But the real twist waited outside. As officers loaded them into squad cars, Jennifer spotted the convoy. Black cars idled at the curb, 4 polished chrome. Men in suits flanked the bench. The old man stood transformed. Coat shed revealing tailored suit, posture commanding. Drivers addressed him, Mr. Hargrove, sir. He approached me, know us. Town hall steps packed now, phones out. Jennifer cuffed in car, banged glass. Who? Hargrove, Elias Hargrove, regional bank owner, property magnate. Fixed eyes on her. You mock your mother sweeping streets? The woman who shared her last sandwich with a homeless bum? His voice boomed, cultured iron. I watched. Every day. Saw kindness when world forgot you both. Jennifer paled. Bank owner? You. He turned to officers. Those frozen accounts? My directive. Fraud on my branches demands justice. To me, Margaret, your evidence tipped scales. Debts reassigned? My holding company. Crowd murmured. To Jennifer pointing. Laugh now. Your condo. Foreclosed. Shop. Lien's mine. Mark wept audibly. She fed you when broke, Hargrove thundered. You starved her legacy. Jennifer screamed denials. Officers drove off, her face pressed to glass, makeup ruin empire dust. I stood tall amid whispers turning cheers. Hargrove shook my hand. True power's quiet generosity. Grace hugged me. Knew you'd win. Physical separation sealed it. Their cars vanished down Main. Me? Walked free, house mine, debts collected, name cleared. Square applauded soft, justice witnessed. But inside complex. Not triumph, pure grief lingered. Babies I'd birthed, now felons by choice. Yet standing firm, evidence presented, consequences enforced? Catharsis. Robert would have beamed. As Hargrove's convoy pulled away, him waving from back seat, I realized, the trembling old man wasn't fragile. I wasn't either. Betrayal broke chains. Truth forged steel. Can you believe it? The man I pitted held power to crush them. And I? Orchestrated fall. 3 months passed like a long exhale after holding my breath for years. The leaves had fallen and new ones budded on my roses by the time the gavel came down in that county courtroom. I sat in the back row, hands folded in my lap, watching Jennifer and Mark stand before the judge in ill-fitting suits they'd borrowed. No more designer labels or smug confidence. The fraud charges stuck, felonies, both of them. Restitution ordered. Every stolen penny back plus interest. The house deed? Reverted solely to me, liens cleared. Their debts? Collected in full through Mr. Hargrove's holding company, which generously forgave my purchases as a gesture of respect. No prison time, thank God. The judge saw their desperation but not their hearts, but probation, community service, and 5 years supervised finances. Jennifer lost the condo. Mark shuttered the shop. They moved to cheap apartments on the edge of town, starting over without my shadow. Walking out into the spring sun, Daniel clapped my shoulder. You did it, Margaret. Clean win. Grace waited by her car, arms open for a hug. Proud of you, neighbor. Even Mrs. Patel waved from across the street. The town knew, not the ugly details but enough. Whispers turned to nods of respect. No more poor Margaret. I was the widow who fought back. My new life unfolded gently, like opening windows after a long winter. The house felt mine again, truly mine. I hired a handyman to fix the porch swing, planted new roses along the walk, even turned the den into a reading nook with Robert's old books. Part-time work at the library suited me. Sorting returns, recommending cozy mysteries to folks like me. No orange vest, no street sweeping. My pension flowed steady into my own accounts, bolstered by a small settlement from the bank's negligence. Grace and I started a neighborhood watch for elders, sharing tips on spotting scams, spotting gaslighting. You teach now, she'd say. From the fire. Emotionally, recovery came in waves. Some nights I'd sit with tea staring at family photos I'd kept, not out of longing but reminder. Grief hit hardest for the dream of them, The daughter who'd bake with me, the son who'd fix my car. Therapy helped. A kind woman downtown who specialized in family betrayal. You mourn the loss, not the people, she'd say. I cried for the babies, not the thieves. Strength grew from ashes. I volunteered at church, hosted potlucks, even dated once. A widower from the mill, gentle talks over coffee. No rush. Life at 71 felt fuller than 40. The antagonist? Sparse updates sufficed. Jennifer waitressed at a diner. Tom divorced her citing financial ruin. She called once, voice small. Mom? Can we talk? I paused long. Earn it first. Click. Mark fixed cars from his driveway, saw his boys weekends. Sent a letter. Sorry doesn't fix it. Working to deserve better. No reply needed. Their consequences were real. Debts paid in sweat, reputations scarred. No sympathy welled, just quiet justice. One crisp afternoon, sweeping my own walk, not for pay but pride, I saw the black car pull up. Elias Hargrove stepped out, same sharp eyes, better suit. Margaret. We sat on the porch swing sharing store-bought cookies. You fed a stranger, he said simply. I was testing a new identity, rough times needed perspective. Your kindness? Rare. Turned out he'd monitored my bank troubles through branches. Tipped Daniel anonymously. The convoy that day? Coincidence turned fate. Invested in your fight, he admitted. Women like you built this town. He left a check. Not charity, an opportunity fund for my elder group. Handshake firm. True ally. Reflecting now, lessons carved deep. Betrayal doesn't define you. Response does. I learned self-worth isn't given by children, it's claimed. Doubt whispers but evidence shouts. Quiet strength topples empires. Robert would have said. Knew you had it in you. Looking back. Red flags waved but love blinded. No more. Trust earned slowly. To you listening, wherever you're from, whatever weight you carry, hear this. If family dims your light, reclaim it. You're not burden. You're legacy. Fight smart, gather proof, stand tall. Age isn't weakness. It's wisdom weaponized. I've helped 3 neighbors since, spotting scams, filing papers. Prevention's my new mission. If this stirred something, you're not alone. Comment below. Ever faced betrayal? What did you do? Hit like if Margaret's story strengthened you. Subscribe, more truths coming. You never know who needs to hear they're not crazy, not weak. Just powerful, waiting to rise. Today, porch coffee tastes sweeter. Roses bloom brighter. Life, mine again.